All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're heading back to November 2003 to unpack a truly chilling, real-world intelligence operation. This isn't your run-of-the-mill border crossing story. We're diving headfirst into a high-stakes game of shadows, espionage, and counterterrorism that was literally unfolding right under our noses.
Picture this. It's a freezing, pitch-black stretch of desert on the Rajasthan-Punjab border. An unseen threat is about to seriously test India's security. It's roughly 2 a.m., the sky is choked with clouds blotting out the moon, and that massive expanse is just swallowed by darkness. Over on the Pakistani side, a faint light flickers, but the Indian side, dead quiet. Just border security force guards huddled around a fire catching static on their wireless radios.
So that brings us to part 1, the midnight infiltration, or Adi Rat ki Ghaspat.
And the way this breach played out, absolutely chilling precision. At 2 a.m., 3 men in black with covered faces are crouching in the biting cold, getting final orders from their handler, Hashim. By 3 a.m., they're at the barbed wire. Someone had already cut a small opening and hit it with sand so they slip right through. Fast forward to 4 a.m., and they're trekking across the harsh desert, deliberately wrapping their shoes in cloth to hide their footprints. Clever, right? By 7 a.m., they make it to an isolated hut for a rendezvous in a jeep. But here's the kicker. Despite the cloth on their shoes, a BSF guard named Surinder Singh had actually caught a super vague movement through his night vision device earlier that night.
Meanwhile, over in Delhi, Intelligence Bureau Officer Arjun Rathore starts pulling at this thread. He'd been getting whispers that trained operatives might cross over, but he had zero specifics. Then, Step 1, that vague BSF movement report lands on his desk. Step 2, strange reports of incomplete footprints in the sand that just randomly vanish. Step 3, Rathore digs into transport data for buses and trains in the region and finds 3 fake IDs using the exact same printing style across different routes. That's when it clicked for him. This wasn't some random smuggling run. This was a highly trained infiltration.
Which leads us into our second section, splitting the network, or network ka phailao.
Now take a look at how incredibly specialized these guys were. It's like they were hand-picked for their specific targets. First, you've got Farid. He's 38, a hardcore combat veteran and mapping expert, and he's headed straight for Delhi. Then there's Nadeem, the electronics and comms whiz, making his way to Jaipur. And finally, Imran. He's just 22, totally a rookie, on his first big mission, and his target is Lucknow. They were traveling light on weapons, but were absolutely loaded with maps, fake IDs, local SIM cards, and coded documents.
So you might be wondering, how on earth did they navigate inside India so flawlessly? Well, enter Kalabaz. Kalabaz was the critical local link who picked them up in that jeep and told them to lay low. His actual name was Salim Qureshi. Years ago, the guy was just a petty border smuggler, but he had basically rebranded himself as a legitimate trader. In reality, he was a secret anchor holding these cross-border sleeper networks together. Moving on to Section 3, Connecting the Dots, Surangan ko Jodna. Down in Jaipur, our electronics guy, Nadeem, has flipped a tiny room into a full-on makeshift control center. He's staring at an encrypted device, and suddenly it beeps. 2 words pop up, Kabutar Surakshit, meaning pigeon safe. I mean, the absurdity of the phrase pigeon safe perfectly captures the kind of invisible tradecraft we're talking about here. This was an encrypted radio signal sent by the rookie Imran in Lucknow, and Nadeem picking it up in Jaipur proved the network was officially online across state lines. Nadeem shot back his reply right away. At the exact same time, over in Lucknow, Imran rocks up to a totally normal-looking tea stall in the old city. He sits down and just drops one word, Barasath, rain. The old tea vendor stares at him for a beat and then replies, Lakan mausam saaf hai, but the weather is clear. This exact phrase was the countersign. Just a casual chat at a tea stall, right? Wrong. It completely showcases the deep espionage happening in plain sight. After that, the old man quietly ushers Imran into a back row.
All right, let's hit Section 4, the Delhi rooftop chase. Dilli min chat par mutabed.
It's 11:30 p.m. in the winding, dead silent alleys of Old Delhi. Inside a bookstore, Farid is showing a messenger named Yusuf maps drenched in red ink, mapping out their endgame to sabotage systems across 3 cities. But outside, undercover agents dressed as tea sellers and spotters with binoculars are waiting. The second Farid steps out, his combat instincts flare up. He spots a watcher. He just whispers back into the shop, "We are tracked." The moment he sensed those agents, this stealth mission exploded into a high-octane pursuit. Over the radio in Rathore's control vehicle, the call goes out. Target active. And this chase? Absolutely breathless.
Farid sprints into the maze of old Delhi alleys, pulling a pistol and just firing blindly over his shoulder. Sparks are literally flying off the brick walls as the police shoot back. He finds an alley blocked, so he scales a staircase and breaks out onto the interconnected rooftops near Jama Masjid. He's leaping roof to roof, with special cell commandos right on his tail. The pursuit only ends when he slips on a loose brick. A commando takes the shot and hits Farid in the leg. Now cornered and bleeding, Farid actually tries to turn the gun on himself so he won't be taken alive. But a commando lunges, tackles him, and knocks the weapon away just in time.
The real turning point, though, happens in the interrogation room. Rathore is sitting across from Farid, demanding to know the mission. Farid just gives this cold smile and says, "You are too late." But then he lets something slip. If Nadim gets active, it will be hard to stop. That chilling little warning was everything. It instantly shifted the agency's crosshairs straight to Jaipur, because they realized Nadim held the technical keys to the whole shebang.
Which brings us to Section 5, Capturing the Intruders, Kuspethion ki Griftari.
Now these final takedowns happen almost simultaneously. In Jaipur, Nadim realizes the gig is up when a white police jeep rolls in. When forces breach his room, he goes down swinging, even tossing a flashbang grenade to blind the cops. He vaults over a back wall but gets boxed in at an abandoned factory. He makes one last sprint, slips, and gets pinned. Meanwhile in Lucknow, a terrified Imran gets the coded message that Delhi has fallen. Panicking, he rushes to the crowded Lucknow railway station at 3 a.m. to make a run for it. But guess who's waiting in plain clothes? Yep, Arjun Rathore. The terrified rookie walked right into Rathore's hands, dropped his bag, and just surrendered.
Let's wrap things up in Section 6, the mission's end, Operation Ka Ant.
With all three in custody, the terrifying scope of this mission finally came into focus. They weren't just attackers looking for a quick strike. They were the ignition switch. Their actual goal was to activate massive sleeper cells that had been lying totally dormant. Fortunately, the agencies recovered their microchips, packed with encrypted network data, along with those old maps linking Delhi, Jaipur, and Lucknow in red ink. Because they were captured alive, Indian intelligence had the roadmap they needed to systematically dismantle the entire larger network from the inside out.
When Rathore finally closed the file on this op, he had this really sobering realization. Looking at the neutralized thread, he said, "Jung khatam nahi hui, bas is bar hum jeet gaye." The war isn't over. We just won this time. He knew the border was always going to be a frontier for unseen threats, and the operatives on the other side, well, they'd inevitably try again. And it really leaves you thinking about that invisible shield of intelligence operations happening right now, completely hidden from the public eye. Seriously, next time you're on your commute, grabbing a coffee, or just walking through a busy train station, you have to ask yourself, how many unseen intelligence battles are being fought around us every single day? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, stay curious.